Добрый день всем. Скоро мы начнем нашу сессию по writing section in IELTS test. Буквально через пару минут. Было бы очень хорошо, если бы вы могли покидать чат, какой именно score вам нужен для IELTS, куда вы планируете поступать. И я начну сессию, она будет проходить полностью на английском языке. А также все вопросы, которые вы хотели бы задать, тоже было бы очень интересно получить в чат, я буду рада на них ответить. All right, thank you for the first comments in the chat. That's very exciting. Okay, 7.5. All right, good. That's a very good score. Which school are you planning to apply to? Hi everyone. Yeah, okay. Hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate that. So please make sure that you leave your comments in the live chat. The whole session is going to be conducted in English for sure. And I think that we should start because it's exactly 12 p.m. right now in Moscow. All right, so yeah, as I said, the topic of our today's session will be definitely dedicated to the writing task in IELTS exam. So as you know, your writing section in IELTS test will consist of 2 tasks. And today we're going to talk about writing task 2 in particular. This is going to be an essay, right? And it's a very massive essay because the minimum of words you need to reach in that essay is 250. There are different types of academic essays in the IELTS exam. So today I want to make sure that we're going to be able to discuss how to write and crack actually and get a really nice score in your opinion essay. And I will explain how to identify an opinion essay, what kind of structure you need to follow, what kind of academic transition words would help you to write, of course. So let's talk first about like the administrative part of the essay, okay? And so first of all, when it comes to the number of words, as I already mentioned, it's a very massive essay and you definitely need to reach at least 250 words. This is the minimum. So please make sure if you don't reach this number of words, unfortunately, your score might be lowered. So ideally, it would be really great if you could write something like from 260 to 280 words. This is the ideal number of words the examiners in the IELTS test are usually looking for. So please make sure that you do that because this is like the part of your test which you definitely need to take into consideration. When it comes to your time management, it's very important to make sure that for your writing task 2, you will spend 40 minutes in total, okay? In general, your writing section will take you 1 hour, so 20 minutes for writing task 1 and 40 minutes for writing task 2. So now let's think about how we need to allocate 40 minutes in general, right? So 30 minutes should definitely go for your writing in total, okay? But when it comes to the rest 10 minutes, you definitely need to make sure that first you start your writing with brainstorming your ideas, and that would definitely take you like around 5 minutes ideally. I understand that maybe it might be challenging, especially if the topic is not exactly what you like to write about, but still try to make sure that you take some notes and brainstorm the topic and plan it a little bit before you start writing. Next 30 minutes is going to be the writing itself. And after that, I definitely recommend you to make sure that you leave 5 minutes to proofread your essay. This is very important because sometimes you need to make sure that you kind of check some spelling mistakes, right? sometimes we're stressed and you need to make sure that you spelled your words correctly, right? Maybe you need to check your logic in general, right? The way how you put your paragraphs in the correct sequence. So please make sure that you proofread your essay. This is very important. And this is very neat. It helps you stay, organized until the end of your writing section. Yeah, this is basically it when it comes to your time management. So now let's move on to the next part of my PowerPoint. And as I already mentioned, there are different types of writing task 2 in IELTS test. And today in particular, we will discuss how to identify and how to write an opinion essay. So what is an opinion essay? So first of all, let's say that the way how your prompt is going to be arranged is this. So you will receive some sort of a topic like that. All right. And after this topic, you will get your main question, right? And according to your question, you need to identify what type of an essay it is going to be. So let's say you've got something about space exploration, which is a very typical topic for writing task 2 in your IELTS test. Please make sure that you check it out before you, take your test. And then right now, if you have a look at my screen, you can see different questions, okay, which might help you understand that, oh, this is definitely an opinion essay. So for the opinion essay, please make sure that you see some sort of questions like that. To what extent do you agree? Well, obviously, for example, do you agree helps you, identify that this is definitely an opinion essay. If you get this sort of a question, you need to make sure that you show the extent in your answer. I mean, the extent of your agreement. So for example, you definitely need to make sure that you say something, I strongly agree, or maybe I moderately agree. Moderately means slightly. So maybe you not 100% sure that you agree with this topic, but you still agree with it, right? So it's possible to use the word moderately, which is very academic, and it will bring you a nice score as well for your vocabulary. Or maybe you completely agree or totally agree, or maybe disagree. So guys, please make sure that it's completely up to you to agree or disagree with the topic, right? Because nobody will judge you according to, your particular personal opinion, right? It just should be a very logical essay, right? You need to show really good reasons why you agree or you disagree with this topic. So just to make sure that you show this extent, please use these adverbs, right? You can see on the screen. They will definitely help you move on. Another sort of a question you might get might be, what's your opinion? Well, that's very clear. Again, the word opinion shows that that's something what you think about. This is definitely an opinion essay, right? Or another one might be, do you agree or disagree? So you see all of these questions, they will include the idea of agreeing, disagreeing, right? Or the opinion itself. So it's quite easy to identify that this is going to be an opinion essay. It's one of the most popular types, and that's why today we're discussing it, right? But we're going to have other sessions where later we will discuss other types as well. All right, so let's move on. And I want us to start talking about the plan itself, okay? And what you need to do when you are literally in your examination room. So what I suggest you to start from is the fact that, let's say that you received your topic. Again, let's imagine that you've got something for talking about space exploration. And we know that this is an opinion essay, and that's exactly what you need to start from. You need to start from the idea, what type of an essay I need to write, because there are different plans for different types of an essay. So once we identify that this is going to be an opinion essay, we already have some sort of a plan in our mind, right? Because we're identifying the type. Any essay you're gonna get, you definitely need to start from brainstorming your ideas, as I said. That's going to be your first 5 minutes. And what's really interesting here is that sometimes students think that, oh, it's not important. What do I need to, waste my time to write down some ideas, like I need to start writing straight away. Well, that's not a very good approach, because I tried both, and I can tell that if you brainstorm your ideas, your essay would definitely look way more organized rather than just a free flow of your thoughts. Okay, so it would be really great if you start from the brainstorm where you need to literally write down in keywords. I'm not saying that you need to waste your time in a sense of writing sentences. For this, you have like your 30 minutes to completely like write your essay itself. But you definitely need to start from like keywords, okay? Like key vocabulary probably. So you feel that you are in the topic, like you're very organized. So this is the way how your brainstorm should look like, right? I will demonstrate to you a bit later with my final sample how to do that. But so far, let's just try to understand what kind of brainstorm it is gonna be. And that's gonna be like your main reason why you actually agree or probably disagree with this topic, right? Just the keyword, okay? Then you definitely need to ask yourself why. So why do you think this reason works, okay? This is a very key question in IELTS test, and I recommend you to ask yourself why you say this or why you write about this all the time, so you keep your idea active, okay? And you're not moving off the topic, because this is a very common mistake for like many students. And your English might be really great, but if you move off the topic, the examiner will unfortunately lower your score a little bit, okay? So that's very important. And the final part of your brainstorm is going to be your example. Okay, it's very important to provide examples in your essay. Why? Because it supports your ideas. It supports like some thoughts, some points which you actually make, and this is very important. Your example should be very detailed, right? And I will show you again how to do that. So this is the first part of your brainstorm, and then the second part of it is going to be absolutely the same, but we should understand that our opinion essay will consist of two main points. And that's why here on the screen, you can see the main reason two, right? Again, in keywords, you need to kind of put that idea in your piece of paper, and then again, explain it, like why you think this reason gonna work as well. And one more example, right? So this is the idea of how your brainstorm should be organized, okay? All right, so this is your first, all right, let's say 5 minutes of the essay. After that, we definitely need to move on to writing itself. But in order to start writing, those keywords, of course, are not the most important part, but the most important part is to have like your plan in your mind, right? You need to know the structure of the essay you're going to write. So it's going to be organized, right? And right here on the screen, you can see the plan, right? And as usual, IELTS is not an exception. You will definitely write your essay based on the structure of having an introduction, having body part, in conclusion. But this is very typical. I think it's typical for any academic essay at school, university, right? Or anywhere else, right? So if we start from the first part of your essay, you definitely need to make sure that you start from your introduction, obviously. So what do I mean here? By introduction, I mean that you definitely need to make sure that you focus on presenting the topic which is given to you, all right? So for example, if here we're talking about space exploration, it means that you need to present this topic, right? And what's I would say that the most important strategy here is to make sure that you say your question. This is your question, okay? This is the topic, right? This is your prompt. You say it in other words, or you paraphrase it, okay? This is one of the most important strategies, I would say. If you just copy exactly the same vocabulary, exactly the same grammar structure from what was suggested to you by the examiner, right, by the test center, that's gonna definitely lower your score. Because, well, the examiner expects you to show your English level, your language level, right? And they expect you to show very beautiful academic vocabulary for this particular topic, right? Or like your grammar at least. So you kind of show how you can say something in different ways, because you would definitely need that for your academic essays at university, right, where you're going to apply. All right, so this is the first part. And yeah, so please make sure that your introduction is definitely going to be one paragraph only. Don't try to make it too long, okay? And now let's talk about particular language structures which will help you to start. So once we already know that we need to paraphrase, or say in other words, our a task, we need to start from a specific, I would say linking structure, which will help us, push right in. And here, the structure is this one. There is an argument that, if you don't like the word argument, sometimes argument, it's a very strong word, dependent on your topic. For example, this one, right? This is definitely an argument, because people can argue about this. Like, some people would agree, some people would probably disagree about, investing money in space exploration. Sometimes you might get a topic where you do not need to argue a lot. Maybe it's just a belief or opinion or a statement, okay? So in this case, you should understand that argument, this is something which you can replace with another word as belief, opinion, statement, something like that. Okay, so please make sure that you check your topic, right? If argument is an appropriate word to use. Well, in my case, it is an appropriate word, and I'm using it here. So, and after that, you definitely need to start paraphrasing your topic. And this is the way how I'm doing it with this particular task. You see that space exploration, this is a complex noun structure. So I'm trying to paraphrase it into ing form, and I'm saying explore in space. That's exactly what I was talking about when I mentioned that you need to say the question in other words. So basically, I'm talking about the same thing, but I'm trying to paraphrase it in terms of my grammar at least, right? And then I'm saying exploring space is a waste of money, right? And that there are more urgent needs to be spent on Earth, right? That's exactly the idea you can see in your prompt. In your prompt, it says that it's much too expensive and the money should be spent on more important things. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that it's a waste of money because there are more other important things, right? So I'm just paraphrasing it with different vocabulary, waste of money, urgent needs, and I'm trying to also show that I know some other language structures, as for example, ing structure instead of a noun exploration, okay? So that's basically the way how you can paraphrase it. Well, here you see that I also added some more points. Those are my points. You can do it as well if you're very familiar with the topic. If you're not very familiar and you feel that your writing skills maybe are not really good, well, in this case, you just need to only paraphrase your task. Okay, starting from the structure. There is an argument that exploring space is and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this is the idea how you need to arrange your first sentence when it comes to your introduction. Let's move on. So basically, your introduction in the opinion essay will consist of, I would say, two main sentences. The one we have already discussed. Now let's move on to the second one. The second one is going to be literally your personal opinion. You need to state your personal opinion in the first paragraph of your essay, okay? It's very important. Please don't skip that, because if the examiner doesn't, as a reader, right, doesn't understand what your stance, what your position on the topic is, then it's going to be quite difficult for a reader to understand your logic and what you mean throughout the whole essay, okay? So this is very important, all right, that you need to express your personal opinion straight away. And it would be really great if you can provide two main reasons why you think so. But because we brainstormed, okay, our ideas in the first 5 minutes of our essay, right, it's going to be already a bit easier for us to kind of mention right now in a sentence those two main reasons why, okay? Again, in order to start this sentence, I suggest you some linking structures here, okay? And this is the structure. For example, however, I completely disagree. You see, I'm literally showing you an example when you do not need to agree, right, with the topic. It's absolutely up to you. But you see that I'm using however. That's a very good structure. It's a very nice linking word, which shows the contrast, right? It's very academic, and it serves as a very nice transition. And after that, you see that I'm saying I completely disagree. Completely, it's my extent, right? Like how much, or maybe how not really much I agree or disagree with that, right? Instead of completely, you could go for any word, like it might be totally, as I already said, or anything else. It's absolutely up to you. Okay, so, and then you see that I'm saying that with this opinion for two main reasons, which are, it's a very good structure. I really recommend you to follow this structure, because first of all, you can show your ability to build relative clauses to the examiner, which are, this is a relative clause, right? I'm describing my reasons. And another interesting thing here is that you can like literally prepare the examiner that, okay, so here are my main points, but I'm going to discuss them in detail later in my following paragraphs. So this is a very good structure to kind of talk about it, right, in our introduction, okay? So here, for example, I'm saying that my main reasons why I disagree, right, are the development of technology, right, and the possibility of escaping from Earth, for example. Well, you can, of course, give your own reasons, right? It doesn't actually matter. But yeah, so this is the most important part here, all right? Please make sure that you follow that. And this is basically it. Two quite long, complex sentences with relative clauses, transition words, linking structures, provide you with a very good academic paragraph, okay? And it's very clear. The examiner is ready to understand what you're gonna move next, okay? That's very important. All right, so that's basically it when it comes to your introduction. I can see some comments in the chat. Well, guys, once I finish, right, I'm going to definitely discuss everything, okay? That's going to be more productive rather than I'm going to jump in the chat right now, okay? So please be patient and stay until the end. All right, so let's move on. And the next part of our structure is the body part, okay? Your body part, your main part of your essay would definitely consist of 2 paragraphs. And that's the reason why we were brainstorming 2 ideas, okay? And not just only one. And this is the main point of it. So now, what kind of, like sentences, contents you need to put into your body paragraphs? Right here, I presented to you the structure, okay? I will show to you in another sample how to do that, okay? So you understand what I mean. When it comes to your first reason, you need to show that there's going to be 2 reasons you're going to discuss, okay? That's why you need to start your body paragraph from, for example, this very good linking structure. Again, all the time, start your paragraph from a linking structure which proves the idea of what you're going to talk about. That's very logical. It's very coherent. And for logic, coherence, and very beautiful grammar structure, you would already get really good points, okay? So we're winning here with this. So let's say that you use the structure first and foremost. What does it mean? First and foremost means first and the most important, okay? Very academic structure. You might see it in different English textbooks, right? So I really like it, and I use it myself all the time. So once I put that linking structure in the beginning of my paragraph, after that, guys, it's very important. You need to understand how to arrange your body paragraph. Your first sentence after first and foremost should be your topic sentence. What does it mean, topic sentence? Like your first reason, right? Like the main sentence, like why you agree or you disagree, okay? That's exactly one of those points in our brainstorm, okay? After this topic sentence, you need to present it, and then your second sentence is you explaining why. How to do that? Some students do it in 2 separate sentences. For example, you said one sentence, and then in another sentence, you explain why. So it's very clear. Sometimes to show that you know different structures, you might arrange topic sentence and your explanation in one sentence using because. That's also very possible, and it's fine. It just shows that you know different ways how to do that. That's why I recommend you to try, for example, in one body paragraph to write 2 separate sentences, like topic sentence, and the second one is your explanation sentence. And in the next paragraph, you might show that you can combine it. And like, for example, put your topic sentence, then because this, right? And after because, this is your explanation, basically, okay? So show different structures to the examiner. They're really willing to see that. Once you explained yourself, you ask yourself why you wrote a sentence, okay? After that, it's time definitely to make sure that you provide an example. So what's really tricky about examples in writing section of the IELTS test? Your examples should be very global, okay? You are not allowed to talk about yourself and your personal experience. This is not academic writing. This is good in IELTS only for speaking, okay? So in the speaking section, for instance, of course, you are welcome to talk about your personal experience. While in your writing, academic writing especially, you need to make sure that you provide global examples. For example, about your country, culture, maybe a very global event like pandemic, for instance, okay? Or something like that, all right? So that's what a global example is. Or maybe like you are talking about a famous person, or you are maybe talking about very famous situation happened somewhere, right? Or a famous university. So something like that. It's a global example, all right? But not personal for sure. So how to move to your example? Here I suggest you different options how to do that. You can use the structure take, then something. This something is going to be your example. For instance, take I don't know, take Harvard University, for example, and then you move on, right? So maybe you will talk about something happening in Harvard University or something like that. So after take, it should be a noun structure. That's what I'm trying to say, okay? Then you put, for example, please make sure that you follow the punctuation rules. For example, in the middle of your sentence should be surrounded by 2 commas, right? And right after that, you need to provide an example, right? This example should support your idea, as I already mentioned. Next, after that, you need to make sure that you finalize your idea, you resume it, okay? That's why you need to move on to the next sentence, for example, with such a structure as therefore, okay? So what am I trying to say by that? You need to make a very slight conclusion, but this slight conclusion should be based on your first main reason, okay? You do not need to talk about anything else. You need just to finalize your paragraph, okay? And that's it. It's very organized. It helps the examiner understand that you're done with this idea and you're ready to move on to another one, okay, to the next paragraph in your body part. So that's why this structure is very important. And please don't just leave your paragraph like this. Like, for example, you gave a very interesting supporting idea and that's it. And then you move into another part. That's very confusing. Like, you need to make sure that you resumed your idea, okay? Like you said, therefore, or thus, right? Or something like that. And you kind of explain a little bit, one more time, your main point, which you wanted to make in this particular paragraph, okay? So this is the idea. Please make sure that you talk about the idea in this particular paragraph. Like, you're not trying to discuss the whole topic overall, okay? That's very important, all right? And yeah, therefore, it's a very beautiful academic structure, right? Usually it is used for, providing some sort of conclusive points, right? And again, we need to use all the transition structures. I think that you know that, with commas, especially in the beginning of your sentence, all right? Yeah, so this is the way how we talk about our first reason. This is the structure, at least, right? It's gonna be a bit clearer to you once I show you the sample, like the real sample which I wrote for you. Let's move on, and I want to show you other transition structures and linking structures which will help you to write your second paragraph in your body part. Well, obviously, if this is your second reason, you need to make sure that you change your linking structures. So instead of first and foremost, now it's going to be more obvious to use the word second. All right. Yeah, very easy. I think that it's very logical. So, and it's very easy to remember, right? Again, comma. And after that, you follow absolutely the same structure, okay? Like absolutely the same one. So let's say that you already brainstormed your second idea, right? And you just need to, again, kind of put it on paper, right? Your topic sentence, right? Just talk about this idea. You need to explain why. As I said, it would be really great if you could probably show just a little bit different sentence structure. You can combine your topic sentence with your explanation using because. That would be really great. And yeah, that's basically it. After that, again, you need to move to your example, right? Your global example again. But what is really interesting here is that you definitely need to show the diversity, right, of your vocabulary and your transition words, all right? So if previously in your first paragraph, you mentioned something like take blah, 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 for example, here it would be better to show something else, like another structure, how to talk about examples. And I really recommend you to use the word to illustrate or to illustrate this point. That's also correct. Comma, right? And after that, you move to your example. This is a very good structure, very academic. Again, it's very easy to use. Please make sure that it's like an infinitive structure, which we start the sentence from, right? And it's a very nice, it's like very academic, and it's going to be very appreciative if you show different structures, as I said, okay? Don't say, for example, in both paragraphs. That's very, very simple, and you won't get really nice score for, like your language structures, okay? Especially if you copy them from one paragraph to another. Make sure that you show the diversity here, okay? And yeah, again, the same idea, you got to provide your global example, right? So after to illustrate, just go to this example and maybe talk about, I don't know, Russian primary schools or anything else, depending where you come from, right? It doesn't matter, but it should be a global example, right? So please make sure that you follow this idea. And again, your final sentence should be some sort of a slide conclusion, all right? This is very important because you need to show that you are logical, okay? And for logic and coherence, you're gonna get like extra points, right, for your good score. So here, again, I'm trying to suggest you some other transition words. Here, for example, instead of therefore, which we used maybe in our first paragraph, here I'm showing thus or hence. Or you don't like these ones, maybe you don't know them, you don't remember them. You can say, it is true that. And then again, you're moving back to your main point of your second main reason, okay? This is the idea, all right? So please make sure that your final sentence should conclude your whole point, the point of your second reason or your first reason, as it was in our previous paragraph, okay? This is very important, I would say. Yeah, so this is the way how we build our body paragraphs. Please make sure that you need to provide 2 reasons, and for that reason, you need to write 2 paragraphs in your body part, okay? This is very important with different, very interesting transitions, as I showed you in this PowerPoint, right? The more diverse your structures, the better. Okay, so let's move on. And I want us to talk about the final part of our academic essay. And this is going to be our final conclusion, right? So conclusion, your final conclusion, I mean, right, is going to consist of only 1 paragraph, okay? And again, you need to start from a transition word, right, from a linking structure, which will show that, okay, you're done. And finally, you want to resume the whole topic, right? And how to do that. So right here on the screen, you can see other structures, and those are to sum up. Okay, if you don't like to sum up, you might also say in conclusion, right? That's also a very good structure. Or, okay, maybe you can say to make a conclusion. That's also correct. So it's up to you, right? But you need to make sure that you start from a linking structure, which proves that this is your conclusion part, okay? And now what's really important here, because your conclusion will also have a structure, right? So you need to make sure that you are getting back to your opinion again. All right. And what you need to do is that you need to get back to the structure of how to express your opinion, right? So after you provided this linking structure, you directly move into your personal opinion again. But what's really interesting here is that you see that, for example, if before I talked about completely disagree, now I'm saying totally disagree. So one more time, if in your introduction you said completely disagree or agree, right? It doesn't matter. It means that in your conclusion, you need to show a different word, okay? Like totally, for example, or strongly, or something like this, okay? Again, you need diversity. You need to show that you know different word structures and how to arrange them. This is important, right? And what's also very important here is that you need, again, to paraphrase the task in other words, okay? So for example, here, so if in my introduction, I was talking about exploring space, right? Here you see I'm moving on after my personal structure. I totally disagree with that. And then you see that here I'm trying to show you another structure, like while we undoubtedly face with serious problems in our planet. So you see I'm kind of talking about this part first, and then it is necessary that we continue to explore space, okay? So you see I'm trying to paraphrase the topic again. All right. And I'm trying to kind of say it in other words. So that's exactly what the examiners are looking for. And that one makes it more challenging to get a high score rather than 6.0 or 6.5, right? For getting 7.0 and higher, right? You definitely need to show that you always paraphrase your ideas. Even though the idea is the same, you need to make sure that your grammar structures are different, right? Or something like this. So once you, again, express your personal opinion, you need, again, to get back to those main reasons why you disagreed or you agreed. And that's why after you express this, you can say because. You literally can arrange it in one sentence, right? And then please, again, paraphrase, say in other words, your first reason, right, which you provided, and the second reason, right? Just say it in other words, play around with your vocabulary, okay? But make sure that you got back to your opinion again and to your reasons again, okay? This is very important in the structure, right? What's also very important here, and maybe unusual to hear for some of you, I'm not sure, but here you see one more structure, right? Given this situation, it seems that that's your final sentence. Why? Because in your final conclusion, it's not just enough to kind of conclude and get back to your opinion and get back to the reasons. You also need to make sure that you provide some sort of your recommendation, like how you see this problem, this issue, because you will get an issue, you will get a problem to discuss in your task, okay, for writing task 2. So it would be really great for an opinion essay. This is typical only for an opinion essay, right, guys? Keep that in mind as well. For other essays, it's going to be other, structures. So I recommend you to start your sentence from given this situation, it seems that, and then you provide your recommendation, your suggestion on how you see this issue, okay? And that's gonna be your final part, like your final way how you're gonna, talk about this topic. Okay, and this is it. That's exactly what you need to do in your conclusion. So one more time, in your conclusion, you might write 2 sentences or maybe 3. So if it's 2 sentences, it means that you express your opinion and right there you say because and then the reasons, or you might express your opinion and then arrange a separate sentence for those reasons again. And the final third sentence is going to be your suggestion. Okay, so this is the structure. Right. Okay, great. So we're done with the structure. So now it's very clear what you need to kind of follow, what kind of plan you need to follow. And right now, I really want us to move to the sample itself. Okay, so you can see practically how I did it myself. All right, how I applied this structure to the real topic. Okay. So I'm going to switch to another slide. And right here, you can see the sample. Okay. And the sample is that you can see the real topic. This is taken from Cambridge test preparation, right? And the topic is some people believe that cell phones have a negative effect on social lives. Do you agree or disagree? This is your task, right? That's exactly what you're going to receive in your exam, okay? So what do you need to start from? And you can see on my screen that you need to start from the brainstorm and understanding the topic first. And that's exactly those 5 minutes I was talking about. So let's try to figure out first that you've got this task. Okay, so I can see my question, like, do you agree or disagree? Well, obviously, this is our opinion essay type, right? I looked at my question, now I know it. Okay, great. So now I'm looking at my topic itself. Well, obviously, this topic is about technology, cell phones, right? And its negative effect on social lives. So what I would recommend you to do is to literally highlight or circle, if you're going to take your paper-based test, right? Circle the word cell phone, because you need to talk only about cell phones. Guys, please don't try to overthink and like guess that, oh, maybe they meant this. No, in IELTS test, everything is very simple. Nobody meant anything extra. What's written, that's what you need to talk about or write about, okay? You do not need to overthink. So if it's about cell phones, it means you got to talk about something related to cell phones, okay? Not to anything else. And next important structure, I would also highlight for myself, negative effect. You're going to talk about this. But what's more important, negative effect on what? Because we can talk forever about this topic, right? They want you to talk only about social lives, not about anything else. You can talk about anything else here, only social lives, all right? That's exactly why a lot of students, even they have amazing English level, right? But if they start talking about something else a part of social lives, it means you're moving off the topic and you're losing your points. And that's very important. Keep the frame. That's why you need to brainstorm your ideas first and make sure that you understand the topic completely, okay? Now let's brainstorm it. You can see here, well, different structures. Well, it's not necessary to arrange it in structures. You can just write down the word convenient. It's your keyword. That's it, okay? Because you are a writer, you know, right? What it means when you write down a keyword for yourself. I just did that maybe more specific for you, so you understand the brainstorm. So again, we start from the brainstorming. My first reason, right? I need to understand if I agree or disagree with this topic, right? I disagree with this topic because I think that there is no negative effect on our social lives at all, okay? Again, I'm showing you the sample that I disagree, and nobody will judge my score in terms of that, okay? So feel free to disagree if you want to. So my first reason why I disagree, because I think that it's convenient to keep in touch. Convenient is my keyword. So it's not negative at all, right? Like wherever I am, I can keep in touch with my friends and relatives, right? So this is my first reason. Now I'm trying to explain, right? Like why? Because phones help us communicate wherever you are, despite the distance. That's what I'm saying. Different countries, cities, it doesn't matter, right? But this is the idea of convenience. It explains it very well. So this is going to be my explanation part. And now let's talk about example. Well, it should be global. And I'm talking here about pandemic. It's a very global event. Everybody knows about it. So why not? And I can show different vocabulary I know, like pandemic, strict lockdown, right? Keep in touch. That's also a very nice structure. So I'm saying here that during the pandemic and strict lockdown, phones helped us keep in touch with our friends and relatives, even though we couldn't meet each other, right? So this is definitely not negative, it's positive, right? That's why I disagree. And this is a very good example which supports my idea. Yeah, this is it. Now, let's move on to my second reason, my second point of my brainstorm. So what is the second reason why I disagree? Well, phones give us an opportunity to get acquainted with new people and get more friends, right? Like expand, make my social circle wider. It's good, right? It's not negative. Like having more friends is better than staying alone, right? And this is my explanation, because it expands my social circle, right? Or our social circle, right? Now, example, well, it's very clear here, right, that you need to talk about some sort of apps in your phone. Here, I kind of mentioned Untitled. It's a very famous website when you can practice your foreign languages, not only English, different foreign languages, I think. Well, guys, if you don't know Untitled, it doesn't matter. You can talk about Facebook. You can talk about VK if you're from Russia, or you can talk about any other apps where you can, meet new people, right? But again, this app should be related to your cell phone, right? That's it. But I decided to pick this one because I can explain this example very well. I'm talking here mostly about cultural experience, learning another foreign language, or, okay, if you can even talk about online dating. It's another reason, right? Like another, I would say, like another example you can mention. And you can talk about Japan. Like online dating is very famous in Japan, right? You can talk about that as an example. It's global. Japan, it's a country, right? So it's all up to you. You see, there are plenty of different ideas. It's a very good topic. Technology is a great topic to talk about. But you see that I'm staying in the frame of communication, and I'm staying in the frame of social lives, right? Meeting with my relatives, meeting with my friends, making new friends. It's all about social life. I'm not trying to move off the topic, okay? And I'm still talking about cell phone. Cell phone helped me in the pandemic. Cell phone helps me, use different apps, okay? So this is my brainstorm. Now we completely understand the topic, and we can literally move on to the sample itself, okay? Well, this is the model answer. This is my model answer, so I wrote it myself. And I just want to show you the way how I do it, right? And the way how my strategies work here. So you can see on the screen, introduction. This is one paragraph right here, literally 2 sentences I talked about before, okay? How to start, right? You see that I highlighted for you here the literal transition structures which I mentioned, and I literally start from that. Okay, I'm saying there is currently a contentious argument over whether, right? This is just more academic. Okay, maybe you don't really know how to use over whether. It doesn't matter. You can say argument that, and then mobile phones, blah, blah, blah. You continue, right? So please don't get confused, right? If you don't know some words here. So you see that I start from my linking structure, which I promised to use, argument. This is an argument, by the way. Some people would definitely say that, oh, I don't agree, or I disagree, like it's so negative or it's so positive. So different opinions like that, right? So it's an argument for sure. So I start from the linking structure, and then please pay your attention that I'm paraphrasing my topic. I'm saying mobile phones adversely influence social lives. And if you have a look at our sample, right, it's very different, right? So I'm not saying cell phones. I paraphrase. I show my vocabulary. I'm saying mobile phones, right? And instead of negative effect, which is an adjective and a noun, I'm saying adversely influence. Adversely means negatively, okay? Very beautiful academic word. I recommend you to learn it. And it's very popular in IELTS test, by the way. Yeah, so you see, I just paraphrase mobile phones and adversely influence, and I kept social lives. Guys, please make sure you cannot paraphrase every single word. It's impossible. Sometimes we cannot find, a synonym, or we cannot find another way how to say it. So it's fine if you don't paraphrase something. Like I didn't paraphrase social life, so it's fine. I'm not gonna be charged because I paraphrased the whole sentence mostly. I said mobile phones adversely influence. That's a lot already, okay? Next, my second sentence, exactly the same as I suggested to you. Look at however. I'm building a contrast here. And then I'm saying, I totally disagree with this opinion for 2 reasons. Please look at this highlighted structure. And then I'm moving on to those reasons, which are the possibility of keeping in touch, right? That was my first reason, right? And my second reason, the opportunity of making new friends. Those were my keywords, my key ideas in my brainstorm, in my first main idea and in my second main idea. All right, that's it. So this is your introduction, 2 sentences only, but they're very complex, right? And you see that if you know these transition words, which I helped you with, you don't even need to think a lot. Like the number of words is growing just because of this very complex transition structures. Okay, done. So now we're moving on to our body paragraph. Okay, body paragraph 1. You see I highlighted that for you. Yeah, it's quite a large paragraph, I would say, but it consists only of everything what I talked about. So let's start from the first sentence. My first sentence is my topic sentence. And as I promised, I started from first and foremost. And I'm saying it is convenient to keep in touch with our friends and relatives by cell phones. Done. This is my topic sentence. I stated it. Okay, I stated that it's very convenient. Next, I'm saying why. So why do I think it is convenient? Okay, you see that in my first body paragraph, I'm trying to write more sentences. So my explanation, it's a separate sentence, as I mentioned, and I'm saying they help us communicate despite the distance. 2 different sentences. One is the topic sentence, another one is my explanation. Done. All right. Next, I need to make sure that I provide an example, as I said, and as I promised, I'm saying take something. What is that something? The pandemic and strict lockdown. Those are noun structures, right? For example, okay? And then I'm trying to explain myself what it means. And I'm saying, which forced us to keep the social distance. Cell phones are the only way to keep in touch with our families and friends, as it is prohibited to meet face to face. That's it. So you see, I tried to extend, make my idea longer, right? Like, what do I mean by pandemic and lockdown, right? And how cell phones help me with this, okay? That's how we build a global example. After that, you see that I still need to conclude, right? Like this logical point. I start from therefore, as I promised, right, in my structure. And I'm saying, therefore, mobile phones have become a must-have today and actually enhance our social lives. Enhance means like make it better, intensify, right? You can check this word out later to understand it better. But you see, I'm trying to show off my vocabulary here, right? I'm using enhance instead, okay? So what's really important here, look how practically this conclusive sentence looks like. You see, I'm talking only about mobile phones enhancing social lives. This is my idea. Enhancing social lives, it means convenient, keep in touch, and like communicate despite the distance. This is how we improve our social lives, okay? And I'm talking only about this idea. I never mention the opportunity of making new friends. I never talk about it because my body paragraph 1 is not about that. So please be careful. And in this final sentence, talk only about your main reason 1, okay? That's it, all right? That's very important. Otherwise, you will move off the topic and you might lose your points. Okay, so right now we need to move on to our body paragraph 2. And as I promised, I use the same Lincoln structure, right? As I used in my structure plan, right? And here I start from second. So I'm moving on to my second idea. And again, I need to present it. And I'm saying mobile phones provide us with an opportunity to get acquainted with new people and make more friends. And you see how different this structure is. my two sentences of explanation and topic sentence, right, are combined together in one complex sentence. I'm using because. It's another sentence structure, and it shows to the examiner that you know how to play with your language, how to use it in different styles, okay? So this is a very good structure to say, because there are many social networks, that's how we call, right, those apps and stuff, which help us get to know new people every day, all right? You see, I explained myself very clearly in one sentence, okay? So here is going to be like around 3 sentences instead of 4 as previously, right? Keep it in mind, 3-4 sentences. Okay, next, we need to support it with examples. And I'm saying to illustrate, as I promised, you see I'm changing my transition structure, and I'm talking about interpels. So I need to explain what interpels actually is, right? Maybe some people don't know what it is. So interpels is a handy platform. Handy, it's a very good IELTS word, means useful, helpful. Handy platform where its users are able to make friends, exchange cultural experience, and learn foreign languages together. You see, I explain myself what it is. That's it. It's very clear. And like the purposes of that point is very clear. Okay, so let's move on. And my final part is actually my conclusion again, right? You see that I started from another structure, right? And this structure is, it is true that. I suggested it to you previously, so I mentioned it before. And again, I'm trying to conclude my idea only related to making new friends, only to the second reason. And I'm saying cell phones may cause negative effects. Despite this, they enhance our communication and improve our socializing activities. Socializing activity, this is something related to making new friends, expanding your social circle. So it explains my second reason properly, okay, and concludes this idea very well. That's what I meant by this final sentence, okay, practically in your essay, okay? Yeah, that's it. And I want us to finalize and get into conclusion part. Well, as I promised, I start from my Lincoln structure in conclusion, then I'm getting back to my personal opinion. Please pay attention. You see, I mentioned totally there. Now I'm using completely. Show the diversity. Completely disagree with the negative effect that cell phones might induce means cause on social lives in particular, okay? Guys, please look at the way how I paraphrased it again, okay? I'm saying negative effect, and then I'm saying cell phones cause on social lives or induce on social lives, okay? So this is another way how you can paraphrase the topic, and that's exactly what I meant by this, okay? For your final conclusion. Then you see I'm using the word because, as I promised that in my structure, and I'm getting back to my reasons. I need to mention them again. And I'm saying cell phones admittedly benefit our communication with new people. And the second one, and develop close bonds. Bonds means connections, right? With relatives and intimate friends as well. Intimate friend means close friend. You see, I'm trying to show different nice academic words, right, to kind of work in my vocabulary criteria as well. Okay, that's it. So you see, I united in my in one sentence, right, in my conclusion, my opinion and my reasons, and I paraphrase them. Then this is the suggestion. That's exactly what I was talking about when I mentioned this final sentence in conclusion. It's a bit different, right, from what you get used to. So you're moving to this transition sentence, given the situation, it seems that. And then you provide some sort of recommendation. Look at the way how I'm doing it. People should try to adapt. You see, should, it's my recommendation, okay? My suggestion to this topic, to this problem, should try to adapt to the new reality where it is mandatory today, it means compulsory, right, to have a mobile phone. Why? Because it serves as an important tool or instrument, right, for developing relationships and establishing proper communication. That's it. So you see, I'm trying to suggest something new, but I'm not moving off the topic. I'm still talking about social lives. That's why I mentioned relationships, communication. That's exactly what I was talking about in my body paragraph, right? And at the same time, I'm just saying that it's a must-have, right? Because we have a new reality, kind of, with technology. But I'm not trying to talk about technology and something else apart from cell phones. That would be another topic, okay? So please make sure that you stay in the frame of your topic and you're not moving off it. That's very important, okay? Well, I hope that it was quite clear to you, and I hope that those structures, transition words, linking structures in general, and the plan itself will help you. After you finish, let's say that you're done with your essay, don't forget to proofread it, okay? Well, now I think it's time for questions, and I would like to check what we've got here. All right, so, oh, great. So there are people who are applying to different schools, okay. One of the most controversial issues these days, okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah, that's another way. I tend to agree. This is another way how you can say that. Yeah, guys, if you know some other structures, that would be great to mention it as well. You can make it more neutral. I tend to agree means that you usually kind of agree with that, right? It doesn't show, though, the extent, but if you were not asked to show the extent, like, for example, do you agree or disagree? If you're saying I tend to agree, you're answering the question. It's good, it's correct. But if you were asked to what extent, remember? So if we get back, for example, to this part, right, of our questions, to what extent do you agree, right? Then I would say that I tend to agree. It's a little bit not logical to answer this way. Like you need to answer the extent thing there. Like you need to include it there. You need to say totally, completely, strongly, right? So please make sure that you check your question and then use the correct structures for that. How to partially agree? Yeah, we talked about that. So partially agree means moderately. I moderately agree. Moderately means slightly, partially. So you actually, you kind of find it fine, but at the same time, you still don't really agree with it 100%. So you can say moderately, okay? That's a very good structure. I mentioned it in the beginning of this session. It's better to say cell phones are one of the ways. There are other tools. No, unfortunately, we cannot use ideas. That's what I was talking about. We cannot say laptops, tablets. We cannot talk about other technology, unfortunately, because in your topic, if we get back to our sample again, you can see here, some people believe that cell phones have negative effect. You were never asked to talk about laptops, tablets, or anything else, okay? Because your topic is focused only on cell phones. And that might be a very typical mistake, unfortunately, that you move off the topic and you try to bring different types of technology which you were never asked about, you know, to talk about it, okay? So please, guys, be careful with that, because this is a very common mistake, to like bring something what you were not asked about. So a very common mistake for this particular topic might be exactly what you guys mentioned in the chat, saying that it's like can I talk about like other types of technology? No, you cannot, unfortunately. You can talk only about cell phones. And another part of it is that another common mistake might be like social lives. Please talk only about social life, like communication, friends, relatives. Don't bring anything else. Like don't bring any other effects, like on your health, for example. So if you start talking about your health and how bad it is for your eyes to like use your cell phones all the time, right? That's bad, because you are not talking about social life at all, right? So please be careful with it. That's why I highlighted for you the word cell phone, meaning that you cannot talk about anything else. Next, social lives. You cannot talk about any other effects like on your health or on anything else, but just social lives. Okay, this is the most important part of it. Should I need to write a hook and background? I'm not really sure. I'm sorry, but I'm not really sure. Could you please clarify your question? Background. What do you need? Background for what? Like which part of the essay? What do you mean by this? I would appreciate if you could explain it. As the tool that allowed to communicate during the pandemic. However, that's what I'm saying. We cannot bring, this is your assumption. Like you think that, yeah, like in your experience, you probably use laptops, right? Or you use like something else, but in your task, you were not asked to talk about this. So you are moving off the topic, bringing laptops, okay? So I understand that probably you use laptops and anything else, and that's what we do, right? But it was not the part of your topic. So we cannot, unfortunately, bring this contrast. I kind of understand your point. You try to bring contrast, right, to your essay, but it's very confusing. Don't bring the ideas which will confuse the examiner. One of the two. You can say one of the tools, but again, I don't see the reason to do that, because if you mention one of the tools, logically, it would be better to mention, so what kind of the tools else? So like logically, this structure makes you kind of get into like laptops and other types, and you cannot do it. So I wouldn't recommend you to use this structure. Okay, so should I need to write a hook and importance of in the introduction? No, so you cannot apply any knowledge. Guys, please make sure that this is an essay where you need just to kind of state something, yeah, like your ideas, okay? You do not need to provide professional experience, academic experience, background, right? Or something like that, because the examiner doesn't check your knowledge about this particular topic. This was a very easy topic, but what if you get something about government, law, and so on? You don't need to be very professional about the topic and talk about specific background. No, you just need to show your opinion and why you think so. You do not need to provide any knowledge right here, just your thoughts, why you think so logically, okay? That's basically it. Yeah, thank you for clarifying that. But yeah, we do not include any background, any professional knowledge, because this is just a regular essay for any students, right? So it would be maybe unfair to talk about some sort of background for a person who is applying to maybe graduate school, or a high school student who's applying to undergraduate, right, degree. So that's important. Okay. Well, it seems that there are no more questions, and I answered everything, I believe. That was very nice to talk to you guys in this live chat and see your questions. I hope that I was able to answer and clarify everything in terms of any opinion essays, right? Stay tuned, because we're going to arrange some other writing workshops as well later. And I hope that you would be able to join. Yeah, thank you too. All right, so I'm about to stop sharing my screen. Okay. All right, thank you guys, and have a good day. Bye.